I am Serigne Dioum. I'm the group CEO for MTN Group FinTech, and I'm passionate about driving financial inclusion in Africa, giving dignity to people by helping them to become financially independent. And also, I'm passionate about seeing people growing.
And I'm so happy to have you on Voices of the Future. Ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely delighted, honored, privileged to have Serigne Dioum with us today on Voices of the Future. He is a great leader at MTN in Africa, where he is working to really make a difference and change the game. Like he said, inclusion, empowerment, making people something and somebody are his passions, and we'll certainly talk about all of those things. In addition, we'll talk to him about his views of the future and how telcos have become techcos and now fincos, how that shift has happened, and also the important things in life, the values in life as we look into our future. So that's going to be the summary of our conversation. Serigne, firstly, welcome. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, Tariq, and thank you for having me.
Serigne, can we take you to little Serigne running around in Senegal? And were you naughty? Were you curious? Were you, or were you a good student and getting straight A's and being good, and your parents were never worried about you?
Yes, little Serigne was in Senegal, somewhere in Senegal, in Dakar, and in Medina, which is an area of Dakar called Medina. It is not far from the center, and I was born there, and I spent all my childhood there. And also I was going to a school which was like 500 meters from school, so also in the same areas. And I think for me, maybe to introduce what I can tell to you, which can give you a view of little Serigne, is maybe about my parents and also my family. So I was born in a family of my father used to have 4 wives, and he had 33 kids also. So I was a member of a family of 33 kids, and you imagine how to educate all of us and make us to know what is good, what is bad. And I believe that he did very well, because among us, I think all of us are successful and having a good life, and with families, with kids, and we are not always together, but everyone is anywhere, somewhere in the world. So in a lot of places in the world, but I must say that he did well. So when I look at my childhood, I think something, and by the way, I'm a Muslim. And I think that also had a very good impact on me, because as a Muslim, we used to have a Quran teacher at home. So who used to come when we did not have schools. So on Wednesdays, Saturday, and Sunday. So to summarize, if we were not at school, we were having Quran at home, and we had like a classroom where he was coming, and he used to live at home actually. So and I think for me, and I studied Quran before I started the formal school, and to memorize it and learn Arabic, it helped me actually. We say that, by learning Quran, it helps you to develop your capacity to memorize and to be smarter when you get to school. And that I was doing it until I think I was 15 or 18. So it is, and that I think was a moment that I was spending with my brothers and sisters, and it was mainly family moments, because we were only among ourselves in the family.
Yeah,
I think that is something that I think impacted my childhood.
yeah. And did that sort of sense of brotherhood, family, community, learning, togetherness, that sense of connection, has that impacted you as you have grown and developed in your life in terms of education, business, and so on? Has those values actually been with you all the way through?
Yes, for sure. For me, family is something very important. And I mean, family is the thing I position first in everything I do. And it is why also, even in the working environment, I'm trying to reproduce that because people who are working for me, I take them as family members and I try to give to them the best I can,
Yeah,
to manage them properly, to give to them also guidance and help them, not only, in the working environment, but overall.
yeah,
So for me, the most important part is when I don't work with someone anymore, that someone wants to become my friend because there is nothing that I do that is personalized, is, it's more on the interest of the company. And I explain it to people and I develop a really brotherhood relationship with people I work with. And also, I think being in a big family is something which is very important to help also to navigate within professional environment because you can imagine family of 33, how people are different and the different of age. Also, that gives to you the fact that, in our culture, you need to respect the people who are older than you, and it gives to you also a sense of just also being able to, take guidance and apply them. And also you have people who are following you and helping you and accompanying you while you are, that is very important.
yeah, indeed. So fast forward into your business life, sir. You graduated in Britannia, and then and how did your career start? And what were your early memories of how you shaped yourself in your business life before you got on to MTN?
Yeah, so I graduated in France and, and engineering, telecommunication engineering, and specialized on mobile technology. So, before I graduated, I think I followed a path which is not like I didn't go to university. After what we call in French baccalaureate,
Yeah.
you go to university. But in France, there is some academic specifics where you can go to what we call class préparatoire, which is designed for the best school, the best of students.
Mm-hmm.
And you go there, it's a 2 years of preparation. You do mathematics, physics, chemical, French, English, and then you prepare yourself to do some, and you do some exams. And following your rate, then you can choose where you go or something like that. So I did that, and then I wanted to do telecommunication because I got fascinated by the person who were driving the telecommunication company in Senegal. His name is Cheikh Tidiane Mbaye, and I think he is a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to achieve something that like him. He was very young when he was appointed CEO of that. I think he was the youngest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he did so well, and how he transformed the company. And for me, he was my leader model. So, and that also give me just it pushed me to become interested on telecommunication, and therefore I went to a telecommunication school. And yes.
Yeah, no, so that's amazing. What this was in the 1990s, I would imagine, when all the telcos were coming up and so on. In the early days of telcos have always been a fascinating and a strong business. But then we had the internet, and then that was the first battle, and then what was your experience in the late 90s, early 2000s in terms of all of the OTTs coming on board and jumping on top of the telcos, them making lots and lots of money, and you guys are just taking basic subscriptions. When I look back 15 years, it just didn't seem fair or right. But the telcos are allowing that to happen. What are your views on that, and how have you started changing that?
Yeah, so my view on that is that as telco, we were making so much money that, I mean, the growth was like 30% year on year. When you have those type of growth year, a growth rate, you think that, everything is okay and you do not need to do much more to secure your future.
Sure.
And those days, you needed just to install one more base station and then you get revenue out of that.
Yeah.
And then after started the data journey, and then it was a growth also area for telco. So telco, I would say, was very comfortable, and because of the high growth that we were getting. And while we were doing that, some others were thinking about, how to leverage our networks. And it is how the OTT came. And for me, I think something I have which is very specific to me is that in my whole career, I've never really worked. I mean, I did it a couple of years, but it was in between. But I've never worked like as a pure telco person. All companies that I worked for, which was Orange, MTN, I always did something which was on the borderline. And so when I was working for Orange, first of all, in Senegal, I was working for Sonatel Multimedia, which was a company that Orange Senegal put together at that time to see how they can penetrate the SME market and also how they could push internet, which was very in its early stage in Senegal. And after that, I started to work on what we call, when I went to Mali, what we call value-added services on top of the network. So, which was, people was working on the core, but I was always on the seeing how to put growth and do some things that could differentiate us. And later, it is how I entered to mobile payment.
Okay. So when I look at telcos in 20 years ago, one of the key things, and I've looked at your deck and so on, the key thing that differentiated you, whether it was Orange or MTN, is really your values and your core value system of how people perceived you and the brand that you were building. Orange's brand, 20 years ago was absolutely incredible. Did you get a lot of training and development in building brand, or were you much more on the engineering side?
I have not worked that much on the engineering side.
Okay.
I worked more on the commercial side, marketing, and also building brands, rolling out brands, and also putting product and services to the market.
Yeah. When did you join MTN, sir? And what
So
have
I
been your
joined
experience?
MTN on the 1st of November 2009.
Okay, so you are a little bit of a veteran, and you've shaped their way forward in the payment space. Yeah,
Yes, I was
yeah.
recruited in MTN by someone called Christian Defaria. He was
Okay.
a visionary. Unfortunately, he passed away last year. But I think he's someone also who I met with, and he offered me a job to come to MTN. That time, what we call today fintech was almost inexistent in MTN, and also SMEs offers was very, quasi inexistent. So he brought me to develop those two areas with MTN. When I said earlier, people were very comfortable in the growth that we were having that time with the core business.
Yeah. Let's talk about your passion areas. Passion area number one, Africa. And I have interviewed several people from Africa, and one lady from Democratic Republic of Congo, she's Queen Diambi. I was interviewing her, and I naively and innocently said about Africa, my mistake. So I said, Africa is really looking good, and it's the final frontier. And she looked at me and said, young man, we are not the final frontier. We are the original frontier. We are the first frontier. So I have created a book, the chapter in the book called Africa, the First Frontier. So it's my compliment to Africa that we are going back to its original glory. So Africa, obviously, the rate at which it's growing, by 2030 is going to be 1.4 billion, and by 2050 is going to be 2 billion, representing 25% of the world's population. So it's very significant. So that's one. The second is you mentioned inclusion. Financial inclusion is literally the heart soul of everything, and I dare say you're doing all of that. And third is getting into women and youth. So these are some of the passion areas, as I understand. But before I go there, you got a telco. Telcos started becoming techcos, and then they started diversifying into new areas. And now you are looking at a finco, which is a financial company, a fintech, but using the backbone of a telco. Can you just share your views and thoughts on that sort of journey for our listeners and viewers to understand how this transformation actually happened? Because it's a really, really tough thing to do, the transformation, I mean.
So, Tariq, maybe before I go there, I think we talked about my childhood, and
Yes,
if you want to know me about as a person, I think
please.
I need to talk a bit about my family.
Of course, of course.
So, and I would start with my wife. I think I met with my wife somewhere in 2005, and she changed my life because the way she always pushed me to look bigger and to look very far. So that I think changed my way of perceiving life and the world, to say that I need to be, always look after excellency. And there is nothing that I should not be affording. I should not restrict myself. And until now, it is, we are married since more than, since 2006. And I think she gave me four wonderful kids also. And I think a lot of how I am today, if I did not meet her, or if I was not with her, I would not become the person I am today. So I really would like that to be reflected on whatever you write on me, because I think that is the things that I think I need to appreciate. And she's always on the background, but I can tell to you that she has been, and she's still amazing, and she will be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I think that I talk about this a lot in terms of building the future, and you mentioned it early. I talk about happiness and love. And the highest vibration is love. And basically, I said, when we're looking into the future, we'll have technology, we'll have this, that, and the other. But that human values of love and community and connection, that's what makes the difference. That's what the future is about. That's sort of my view of the world also. And I'll share a fun story from my side also. I interviewed the executive producer of the movie called Gladiator. Do you remember the movie?
Yes, I do.
What was the movie about? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember the actors. Was it Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, Russell Crowe was the
Yeah.
actor. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it was talking about the world that time, how they was conquering and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Walter Parks said to me, he got the Oscar for that, and he said to me that actually I failed a little bit because everybody thought that it was about revenge and power and fighting and so on. Actually, he said it was just a love story. And
Wow.
all he was doing was fighting all the way just to go and join his wife in charge. And that's why he had no fear. And basically that's why he became the gladiator, and this was his journey for love. So love is very high. And thank you for sharing the story of your wife. What is her name, sir? Because I'll certainly mention that.
Her name is Maggie.
Maggie. Okay. So we'd love to, Maggie. We will do that. And it's amazing. And there are many other people in the book who also have exactly the story that you have. One of them, when you're in Dubai next time, I will introduce you to him. His name is Yogesh Mehta. He came in with nothing. Today, he's a billionaire. and he was in love with his wife since he was about 12. She didn't know until he was about 15. So 3 years he was just a secret marriage. And now he's 60 years old, and he said, I have always loved her, and that has been the reason for what I have become. So I can resonate with the story. So thank you for sharing that story. And I will certainly build that in the most beautiful way.
Okay, super. So let me come back to your question,
Yeah.
which is about moving from telco to telco to telcos for companies. So what I would say about that is that I'm amongst people who are driving the change.
Mhm.
Starting fintech within telcos in an environment where the growth rates were very high with the core business and convincing people internally to invest on fintech, which would be the next area of growth, where the growth was still very high. And I think that is really what what was driving me is since the beginning, I believe that fintech was the future of telco.
Okay.
So, and I had, when I started, or after that 2010, 2011 in MTN, a lot of opportunities to move into the core business and become a CEO of an operation. And I always declined them and to focus on building what our fintech business is today.
Mhm.
And that is really about driving change internally, because to drive fintech successfully, you need to change the way or you are operating. And your customers, instead of using the phone to call and send WhatsApps or whatever they need to do financial services with it, you change the way your customers are perceiving you. Second one, your agents, instead of selling only airtime, they will sell financial services, register people and everything. Internally, which is the most difficult part, is that people, they need to acknowledge that they think they have something which is much more complicated, which is much more demanding. And to do that is something which was quite a journey. And for me, building that within MTN internally, I can tell to you that it is harder than creating a startup outside and pitching for money,
Absolutely.
because yes, so this is really, and now I think most of the telcos are really trying to shift from a telco business to a techco business. So that means that we want to become a platform,
Yeah.
and several platforms, the telco for MTN, the fintech, the enterprise, and the other business, the other platforms that we are building. And for me, we couldn't be there if there was not people like me who started driving the change. And because the platform, the fintech platform, we started building it in MTN since 2009. And
Mhm.
today it is a mature business, and it is why people are encouraged to talk about building, consolidating the fintech business as a platform, but building new platform, because they know that they can leverage the telco asset to build that. And
Yeah.
also the second thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that as a telco in Africa, we have unique assets. As MTN, for example, you have 300 million customers, you have a wide distribution network, you have a brand which is trusted and loved by everyone in the continent. And also you have people who are working for you, who knows the continent, and you who know about what they do, you who knows also as a business and understand it well. So those core assets that a telco have is really the foundation that they leverage on to build the platform businesses.
Yeah.
And yes, and coming back maybe to something you mentioned earlier, which was the OTTs coming and building on top of telcos, I would say that this is also what is driving our strategy when it comes to fintech. Because 5 years ago, we sat down and we told to ourselves, we want to avoid what happened to the telcos with OTT
Yeah.
to happen to us. And then we are building a platform, and we are giving to our customers a best-in-class, world best-in-class customer experience, product and services, so that whoever comes, provide to them, they already have it, and it will make sustainable our business, and to avoid people coming and extracting value on top of what we have built or what we are building.
Indeed. Two big trends. One of them obviously is in China because they went from basic banking stuff to mobile banking in one go. $77 trillion worth of transactions on the mobile network, Tencent, WeChat, Ant, and others. So that's significant. I think Africa could probably learn from something like that and see how they did that. So I think that's one big trend. The other big trend that I see, Serigne, and I think it'll be close to your heart, is mobile wallets and how 52% of bank accounts or accounts, where stored value accounts in the world today, are mobile wallets and growing, only growing. So if we look at these two trends within Africa, you can literally leapfrog, and 300 million customers will look nothing because you can double it to 600 million and then double it again in 10 years' time. So that level of growth is not possible as far as banks are concerned because of their core systems are too heavy and clunky, while you already have the last mile connection. So what's your big ambition? What are you trying to achieve?
So my ambition is to build the largest fintech platform in Africa by African.
Mhm.
And that is very important. And
Yep.
and also my vision is really to also give dignity to people.
Yeah.
What I call dignity is that when a person becomes financially independent, this is very important because
Yeah.
most of things that we are doing, people are opening an account for some people, giving loans and everything. But at the end of the day, what I want in each of my customers, every single customer, to be able to save money, to be able to maybe take a loan to open a business and start saving money and being independent and being able now to fulfill duties, to pay school fees, to give food to families and to save for the future of their families. So
Yeah.
this is what I want every single African to go through and to help them to grow their wealth, and if they have companies, to grow their companies. And this is really why I wake up every day. I am doing. But overall, we want to build also the largest fintech business in Africa. We do have currently the largest one, but we want to consolidate it and to be the largest by far.
When I was working with Stanbic, we were looking and talking about 100 million women in Nigeria. And women are a powerhouse. And again, in respect to Maggie, and also to all of those amazing women who are out there, who are the backbone of families and societies. You have empowered them, and getting that inclusion process for women and empowering those women. What kind of initiatives are you doing to make sure that 500 million women in Africa will be connected and will have an opportunity to have that dignity of life?
I think what we are doing, which is powerful, is that we give to them tools or what they need to be successful. So let me give you an example. Last time I was in Rwanda, and I went to do a market visit, what I do when I go to a country. And we met with one lady, so who was selling tomato in a market in Rwanda, in Kigali. And so I started discussing with her, asking to her if she was mobile money customer, and she told me yes. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Look, I started by taking a loan every morning. I will take a loan in the morning and I will go and buy tomato in bulk and I will sell them during the day. And end of the day, I would sell all my tomatoes, and I will reimburse the loan the same day, and I will have some extra money, and I will save part of it, and part of it I will use it to pay food for the day after and to give some money to my kids. And what I save at the end, I use it to pay school fees, and now my kids are going to university. And also, now also I've saved enough not to take a loan anymore. I have my own working capital. And for me, we empowered someone who were able to make impact on her life, but to impact also the life of her family, and to grow her family in a way where her children were able to be educated properly and to go to university. So for me, this is how we really empower women. And I can talk about a lot of initiatives that we are having across the countries where we are operating. But our essence is that we help people to build something and to
Yeah.
become after that very independent and to be able to carry also their family alone with them.
Yeah. Thank you for that, sir. When I look into the future as a futurist, and let's just, on the final phase of this conversation, talk about that. I always say that trust is the number one thing that will define our future. Trust, truth, integrity, ethics, because without that, nothing works. The second area which I talk about, which I see so beautifully in you, and I'm saying this with respect and admiration, is a sense of empathy and human values. And the way you share your stories with empathy and human values. How are we teaching our young people, our schools, and other environments to share that same values that you have and the empathy that you have to be able to be great leaders of the future?
I think for me, something which is very important is um, to help the younger generation to believe in principles. Because if you look at the world currently, it lacks a bit of principle.
Yes.
And also for me, foundation in life is also you believe on principles and you apply them. And I am a Muslim, and I practice and I believe that, and everything around it. But most of my colleagues do not know that I'm a Muslim, that I practice. For me, that is very important because when I am with them, I'm someone who navigate above that and try to talk to everyone. And for me, you to believe on something and also to uh, uh, believe that the potential which is in you and to then have principles are things that which are very important.
Yeah.
And I think for that you're talking about future, but let me bring you back to the past a bit. I don't know if you know Sheikh Anta Diop.
I know the name. Yeah, yeah.
Sheikh Anta Diop is a Senegalese anthropologist, and he's the one who wrote a lot of books about the civilization, the Egyptian civilization that was, to demonstrate to everyone that African civilization was the first biggest civilization, and it was most advanced than any other civilization before. And I think when the younger African generation will believe that they great-great-grandfather built something which was the biggest thing in when they were living, and they can start believing that they can also build something which should be bigger in the future. And I think
Yeah.
that is very important
Yeah.
to come back to your roots and to understand that, because a lot of Africans, when they wake up every day, they are seeing things that have been invented by others. And so they would say, we've never done anything and will not be able to do anything good in our life. But when they read about those things and they understand that uh, they have potential that they can, and it will not be the first time that it happened in life, is something which is very important. So for me, knowing about your roots, uh, knowing about yourself, believing on yourself, and having principles in life are things that I would, encourage the first generation. And success, I would, for me, having also a passion on something is very important, because most of time, people, they see someone and saying that some people may say that I'm successful, but what is driving me is a passion I have and the legacy I want to leave on what am I doing. And then
Yeah.
after that, one of the outcome could be the success. But I think I prefer to talk about passion and to see how I can make it a reality, and also how to make a contribution for my community. And for me, driving financial inclusion is something unique, and I have a opportunity to drive it, and I'm thankful to God that I'm able to do it. And this is a passion I have, really.
Brilliant. Talking about partnerships, last couple of questions. MasterCard, you recently arranged a partnership. Can you share how that partnership is going to impact and fulfill your objectives?
Yes, for sure. So, the partnership between us and MasterCard is, first of all, a meeting between two companies with the same value, with the same vision for Africa, for financial inclusion in Africa. And this partnership is about also empowering our customers, empowering our ecosystem. So for our customers today, they're able to make payment locally. But with the first part of, we will be able to issue cards that will enable them to pay, for example, in one, international e-commerce and get access and order from where they are and to be delivered or whatever. The second one is I talked about merchants earlier, and is to empower and to improve the value proposition that we are providing to our merchants. So today they accept payment with mobile money, and with this partnership, it will allow them to accept also cards and accept other means of payments. That is very important. And the third one is international remittance. You know that Africa has a lot of diaspora, people in the diaspora, and for them, they're sending a lot of money to Africa, and it is very painful, and also it is very expensive. And we think that the assets we have in MTN, we in fintech business that we build, we can disrupt that. And partnership also, the third leg is to help us to unlock that.
Yeah. And your relationship is both an equity-based relationship and a strategic relationship. Is that an interesting new way of teaming up with organizations, great organizations like MasterCard, is to get them, with skin in the game rather than just a platform to use?
Yes, so for us, I think we decided that we have a strategy. And we decided to look at strategic partners that could help us to accelerate the execution of our strategy.
Yeah.
And, there is a proverb that is saying that if you want to go, if you want to go far,
Go alone.
go alone, or if you want to go
Yeah.
fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to go together. And
Yes.
I think our vision is a vision for long term for Africa. And we think that with MasterCard, it will help us to really build a payment and e-commerce business, and quicker than if we do it alone, if we're going to do it alone. So it is why we've decided.
15 years ago, to me, telcos were a vertical, but today they are horizontal. And you have mentioned one horizontal, but there are several others like health and automotive sector, or manufacturing, banking and finance you've already covered, maybe perhaps the energy sector, but particularly health, which is a massive industry which is ready for disruption, whether it's through insurance or through data and having our own personal data, etc. Is that the way you are looking into the future beyond 2025, which is more natural, into going into other segments like this, like health, automotive, and so on?
Yes, for sure. We think that, we've started with 5 verticals, and one of them is insurance. And we've partnered also with Sanlam to build the largest insurtech business in Africa. So, but for us, other verticals like health are things that are very important, education. And, when you're a payment platform, you can allow people to get access to everything. And because you have the payment mean, you can push everything to them. And and there are a lot of verticals that we think that we will make accessible to our people through our platform. And for that, there are things that we will be building alone, but most of things will come through partnerships.
And my final question, sir, let's put ourselves in a time machine, in a time capsule, and we invite Maggie, we invite your 4 children, and we are now reaching your 100th birthday. And you're not even at half time, so you have your whole life in front of you. And on your 100th birthday, Serigne, what are we celebrating? what are we announcing? What do you see outside when you look into the window? What do you see in the eyes of your family and your children and your grandchildren?
So for me, the first thing I hope I will be able to celebrate is my family.
Yes.
That in 100 years, I was able to build a family and, still being with my wife and getting my children who have children and who build families and to see that also for my children, I gave to them an education which was very strong, and they were able to also build foundation for their own families and transmit the same to their own families. I think that is the first thing that and also the second thing when I look at back and I realize that I've helped a lot or I've shared a lot on what I have been earning, what God have given to me with people who were in needs. And I was able to help a lot of people to move from where they were to a more wealthy situation. And, every year I build wells in some villages in Senegal, people who don't have access to water, and I do it with what I earn. And I have a lot of projects like that I do myself. And to see that I was able to do more of those and to be able to help people. And the third one is my professional legacy, to look at, MTN FinTech and see that it is still, the largest FinTech platform in Africa. And I was able to build an organization where when I left, it was much more successful because I left the people behind that were able to take over, that came with new ideas and brought it to position it in a way that I never thought about.
Yeah.
And
By your 100th birthday, Serigne, I don't even know whether we'll have fintech as we know it. Maybe it'll be a chip in the brain,
yeah,
maybe it'll
yeah,
be a
for
tattoo in
sure.
your hand, or anything like that. But it's a beautiful vision. Thank you for sharing your humanity with us. I'm personally very, very humbled and very touched. Thank you for sharing about your family. I think this is so beautiful. And when I talk about the future, Serigne, I always end about talking about humanity and family, because technology was always going to happen, because it'll be a million times faster and a million times cheaper. But anything that cannot be digitized, love, harmony, imagination, heart, soul, loyalty, connection, critical thinking, common sense, these will be a million times more valuable in the future. And that is indeed the voice of the future, and your voice of humanity and your voice of professionalism and your voice of love has been absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Serigne.